Hi, everyone. Welcome to America Outdoors webinar today. Thank you for joining us. It's kind of a gloomy day here in Central Illinois, so it is lovely to see all of these names. Hopefully we'll maybe see some of your faces and hear some of your voices shortly, but it's great that you can join us. We appreciate your time. I just want to start off by saying we have Megan here. Megan Forbes is from PhotoFlow, and she will be presenting today. We are going to be talking about increasing the lifetime value of your customers and cracking the code on memory marketing. We should have an awesome presentation. I know marketing is always something we have a lot of interest in, so it's going to be good to talk about it, and it's good to kind of hear from you all and get maybe some ideas and some discussions at the end of this. So we do have upcoming, we have a lot. We have the America Outdoors Conference and Expo. That will be December 5th through the 8th, and we will be downtown Phoenix this year. Awesome place to travel to. Phoenix has a lot going on. The airlines are usually very easy and less expensive. And the conference that Hillary put together is awesome. We have a great plan coming, so hopefully you can join us. All of the information is on our website, americaoutdoors.org, if you want to check that out. The link to the conference is there, the agenda is there, so you can get all of that information on the website. We also have one more webinar in this series, in our fall series. So if you are interested, we will have Wednesday, November 1st, we will have Dave Dennis joining us. He is from Cornerstone Safety Group, and he is going to do a great discussion on crisis response planning for smaller businesses. So I know a lot of you are really looking for resources for smaller businesses. Dave is really, really good in that safety planning, so it'll be great for us to kind of have that resource for some of the smaller outfitters out there, or just some of you who want to review your plan. So all of those can be found, again, just come to our website, americaoutdoors.org. You can find these future events coming up posted on the website. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat for me, or you can email me at cshort@americaoutdoors.org. For today, before I take all of Megan's time, I'm going to let her go, but I just want to ask you, if you do run into like a question that you really, really, really want to ask right away, feel free to type that in the chat. Megan's got a little time saved for the end, so at the end, I would love to hear you ask your questions. In the end, we'll turn microphones on and let you all jump in. We would love to see some discussion and some ideas if you have any about some of the things that she'll present. So with that being said, feel free to type in questions if you need during the presentation. Otherwise, at the end, we will open that up. So at this point, Megan, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and present Increase the Lifetime Value, Cracking the Code on Memory Marketing. Thanks to America Outdoors. I have been to the conference before. It is amazing, such a great place to make new friends, meet old friends, brainstorm ideas, and hopefully we give a little bit of inspiration today. Again, my name is Megan Forbes. I am the Director of Sales with PhotoFlow. And let's just jump right into it. So memory marketing probably isn't something that you hear about regularly, if at all, but there has been a lot of buzz in travel and tourism talking about discovery over the past couple of years. Discovery, in other words, how people find out about and decide on activities or experiences to book. Now, at the intersection of memory marketing and discovery is lifetime value. So why does this matter, and why aren't we doing a great job at leveraging personal experiences and memories in our marketing to get people to visit us more often and refer more friends and family to our business? Now, before we really get into it, discovery has, like I said, been a big theme over the past couple of years. And part of the reason I think that there's a worthwhile moment to excuse me, part of the reason I think there's an important reason to do a little bit of debunking about industry experts' predictions is that they predict the discovery of your tour activity or experience will be predominantly online and increasingly peer-to-peer. Now, I couldn't agree more with that. However, where I disagree is with who those people will be. Industry experts think that it's going to be your content creators or your influencers. I actually believe that it is going to be your everyday customer. Now, not to spill the beans too much, but the content that we're going to move into today tells a story as to why we're making such bold predictions. So we asked the question, how many businesses are actually running successful evergreen influencer campaigns? We see influencers as a limited group with a limited audience and a limited reach or lifespan with each content piece that they create. This requires a great deal of planning, hands-on project management can be very expensive, and there are some questions around tracking the results, especially long-term. Customers, on the other hand, they are readily available. They pay you to be there and post without incentive. There's an evergreen opportunity to leverage something that's already happening here. And data shows, and I'll show that at the end, that friends and family or that word of mouth marketing is still the biggest driver of discovery. Now, a colleague of mine actually put it really smartly, but you be the judge. Would you rather pin your hopes and dreams on a one-time insta-famous stranger or form lifelong connections with every single one of your customers? What do you think is more authentic, and what better represents the hard work you've put into building your brand or business? Now, this time I've carved out today is 100% about you and your businesses. I want you to be wildly successful, but I am constantly working on the right to be here, earning the opportunity to be here by talking to thousands of operators and industry experts, marketing personnel, and I've hosted dozens of keynote speaker sessions, roundtables, presenting on the topics of advocate marketing, referral business strategy, and using tech to automate business functions. Now, here's what I've learned. Business owners either want or desperately need to do 4 things. More of what works and less of what doesn't, of course. Create a predictable booking stream. Navigate away from this sort of one and done mentality around guests, and act on the principle that people are no longer the targets of your marketing media, they are your marketing media. Now, our main goal today is to help you understand and use very specific tools and concepts to earn more lifetime value from your current customer base, because your past guests are a sales channel that you absolutely need to be leveraging. So lifetime value. I'm starting here because this is the money, honey. This is what keeps us all employed, and hardly anybody is talking about lifetime value in its full capacity, but they should. It is not just about how much they spend with you today, but how often they come back and how many people, how many of their friends and family and network they actually refer to your business. And you know what? Even destination markets that we serve are shocked that they have a repeat business or a significant share of word of mouth or referral marketing. And even if they know it's happening because, you know, a guest tells them or a guide tells them sort of passively, most business operators aren't tracking it, and mostly it's dismissed. So to kick this off, I invite you to start by asking yourself if you know not just how many of your guests are return customers, but who they are and whether you're segmenting them or treating them differently in your marketing mix. You know, a Harvard Business School study actually quoted that a 5% increase in repeat bookings could equate to a 25% increase in net revenue. Actually, they said it could be as much as 95% increase in net revenue, so I'm staying conservative. But I really think this deserves a strategy. And the simplest place to start, know the score, keep the score will improve. Know the score, keep the score will improve. Understand and track how your customers heard about you, and then you have a benchmark to improve upon. And then you can start thinking strategically about a business referral strategy. So most of the major reservation technology online providers or partners will have an intake survey. You know, how did you hear about us? You could do this on a piece of paper, and it doesn't have to be you and your pad of paper asking everyone from now until the end of time. Just pick a section of time, take a little tally, do a few spot checks throughout your week, Then you know the score, you keep the score, and we can work to improve the score. And you know, all the big players have them. Dropbox reported a 60% increase in signups from their referral program. Facebook, there's an empire built on social referrals, and these guys have paid millions, billions probably, to remind us what we could logically deduce for free. People telling people about your business is infinitely better than you trying to tell people about your business. So we understand lifetime value, how to think about it, how to track it. Now let's introduce direct bookings. So everybody's talking about direct bookings. Everybody's got a strategy. This is people finding you organically, or even better, because they're specifically looking for you and land on your homepage. The thing is, over the past few years especially, the dialogue has been strong and heated around OTAs. Everybody's negotiating or battling with OTAs, and it's really worthwhile considering your strategy with them as a booking stream, especially long term. And that made me want to tell you a story. We're going to leave our industry just for a moment, but a smart person learns from their mistakes. I think everybody on this webinar today is a very wise person. So let me share an experience I was very close to so that you can learn what to watch out for. A little over a decade ago, I started my career with software for the food and beverage or hospitality industry with a then little known company called Just Eat. You may know a similar company called DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, etc. There's tons of them now. Now, at first, there was huge excitement from restaurant owners to join the platform, which promised exposure to more customers. More orders, they said. You don't have to do anything. We'll sell your pizza, your pad thai for you. It's good, it's great, it's the future. Sound familiar? So what really happened? Absolute fury and chaos. Operators became fed up with one order stream, which was unpredictable. They fell slave to smaller margins, more competition, technology disruptions, rules of the giant corporations selling their product for them. But most of all, it was a complete loss of the relationships between restaurant owners and their customers. So we were no longer a customer of Mario's Pizza and Wings. We were customers of the online aggregates. And guess what? The same thing might be happening with Airbnb right now. Hosts are leaving to grow their own email lists and distribution and offering loyalty discounts to book off of Airbnb. Now, I am all for growth and automation, of course. But I think when you actively maintain your relationships with your guests, they will come back to you and refer their people, their friends and family directly to you. And this is in line with strategizing more direct bookings. So how do we do that? This is with your marketing strategy. Driving direct bookings will likely be a combination of tactics, including paid, owned, and earned media. Now, these aren't the only three, but travel advertising is primarily or increasingly happening in a digital landscape, so we're going to focus here. Paid is the content that you pay to place in front of an audience. So this could be like your Facebook ads, your Google ads, your sponsorships. Owned is the content that you create and control. So that could be, your website or your Instagram handle. And then we have earned, which is publicity gained through promotional efforts other than advertising. And this could be something like social posts by your guests, including your brand and business, or review posts by your guests. Now, these are all very important, but that discovery piece we started the presentation with has a very unique opportunity within your earned media. And consequently, this is the biggest head scratcher for most people that I speak to, almost like a piece of the marketing strategy that's missing. So let's start with a quick scan of what these mean through a lens of implementation. Paid ads, been around for a long time. There's nothing inherently wrong with them, but you might have to pay a lot for them. It's a competitive space. Sometimes you might be competing against yourself. And then of course there's the messaging. It's really you telling people or trying to convince people who don't know you how great you are. So then we have owned media. Well, this is where people find details on what you have to offer. So of course it's important to have a digital presence. However, you have a finite reach on your channels and they're ever changing. This little Twitter bird is no longer relevant at all. So can you imagine from the days of MySpace and Facebook and then Twitter, now X and Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and what's next. I imagine you did not decide to open a tour business to become a social media savant. So what's next? Earned media. It makes sense that everyday people authentically promoting you would be great. That's your word of mouth marketing, isn't it? But how the heck do you get people talking favorably about you online? Well, that's the code that we're cracking today. So first, let's get back on track here. What do lifetime value and direct bookings have in common? Besides increasing them will lead to more profitability. And the hint is we just kind of touched on it when we drew parallels to online food ordering and Airbnb. They are most strongly built through relationships. That's your relationships with your guests, all of them, which are inherently emotional. And we need to remember that when it comes to purchasing decisions, logic unlocks the mind, but emotion unlocks the wallet. And you know what else is emotional? Memories. Now, what's super unique and powerful is this is built in to tours and activities. Experiential businesses alike, people want to remember what they do. Remembering equals that top of mind awareness, strengthening relationships. They're more likely to come back directly to you and refer their friends and family directly to you. That all increases lifetime value. So you provide and help people create these amazing memories every day, that's obvious. But there's all this value underneath the surface, that long-term relationship building. And it's sort of based on the principle when it comes to your marketing or your strategy for gaining new customers, do you want to go a mile wide and an inch deep? This sort of spray and pray mentality, always trying to attract new people to your brand and business, or do you want to go an inch wide and a mile deep? Work to build these long-lasting relationships with people, trust, advocacy, leveraged and propelled by memories, specifically memory marketing. So let's tap into that, shall we? Because if you're like most people, when you introduced the webinar, you might have been thinking, what the heck even is memory marketing? All right, hey Google, what is memory marketing? It's the actual process of reminding customers of their past experiences, and it's mainly successful because memories are rarely kept to oneself. So the power of the memories you capture, no matter the format, comes in the form of being retold and shared. And then obviously I needed ChatGPT to weigh in, who said the memory marketing approach is based on the idea that people are more likely to remember experiences and emotions than advertising messages, and that emotional connections can drive brand preference and purchase decisions. Okay, memories and emotions are processed in the limbic system in the brain, and literally how emotions are processed and work with decision making could be a great subsequent topic, but don't worry, this is not a science lecture. There is, however, a reason that top brands strategically tap into emotion with their marketing campaigns. It is just powerful. Dove spoke for the forgotten women and started a body positive empowerment movement. Coke invokes our nostalgia and always brings us back to simpler times. Nike made you believe in yourself again. It is so powerful when a brand or business connects you to a feeling, because emotion unlocks the wallet, right? Drives purchase decisions, right? Now, probably you don't have the budget of Nike or Dove or Coke, but in today's world, that does not matter because the landscape has changed. So you can easily stop interrupting what people are interested in and be what people are interested in. And what interests us is not corporate or brand messaging, but rather peer generated content that's relevant to our lifestyle. This is personal content shared by family and friends. It's credible, it's emotive, it's behavior changing. And you are in a very unique position to tap into this. Psychology Today says marketing research has established that most consumer decisions are memory-based. Yes, we all know that now. Memories stick because of emotion. That's that limbic system. So let's highlight the fact that when it comes to tours and activities and experiences, we're not just remembering a wine tour or a zip line or an axe throwing experience, but bachelorette weekend, vineyards and sunshine, or first date butterflies zipping around the belly, or birthday axe throwing up from hangovers. I'm sure it's been a long time since any of us have done that. But they're meaningful life moments. They're emotionally charged with the desire to remember built in. So what if I told you, in fact, I can guarantee you there is something already happening at your business right now that could propel this, that's probably being wildly underutilized, underleveraged, or completely ignored. It is happening. I'm telling you, it's happening. What are people doing? What do you see them doing that helps them to remember and share their experiences? Of course, they're capturing photos and videos, they're capturing content. Why? Because what do travelers or experience seekers eagerly and excitedly do with their content? Of course, they brag about the cool stuff that they do online, share it with friends and family. You know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Photos and videos are the primary driver of online content engagement. See what I did there? So many operators I speak to have seen or been part of a proposal at their experience. It's actually a really common, really beautiful thing. But here's the thing. Your guests already habitually curate their memories online. They're significantly reaching larger audiences, like-minded audiences, effectively blurring the lines between online and offline experiences, and really they become your marketing media, right? Remember, here's the big one. Messages perpetuated by your guests to people who already know and already trust them. Okay, so how can you help? What are some practical ways that you can get involved? Include a photo stop in your tour. Now, it could be something as simple as, you know, when they check in, when they get geared up. It could be an emotional moment. Maybe there's a significant landmark story that's been told on your tour, something where the emotion is heightened. Maybe it's as simple as a sunrise, a sunset. I've also seen businesses with branded props, signs, or a backdrop, something to not only capture that moment, but ensure that your brand and business are included. The second thing you can do is interact with that content when it's shared. So one great way is creating and sharing simple hashtags. Now, if you run a whitewater rafting tour, I wouldn't necessarily hashtag whitewater rafting because there'd be millions and millions and millions of results. But if you can find a hashtag that's unique to your company, then when you search it, you can easily pull up the posts with content that your guests have shared. And when you do that, engage with them, thank them, invite them back. You could also implement a photo memory contest, maybe something weekly or seasonally, the funniest photo, the most beautiful photo. There's lots of ideas, and this is a great thing to engage and brainstorm with your staff or with your communities on. You can also gift them photo memories from your business. Now, there are a whole host of softwares out there that will help to automate this process for you. And it's a big paradigm shift from photos as products to a value-add service. There's tools out there like Lightbox, Google Drive, PhotoFlow, AirDrop, Revel, Viewpoint Video, SmugMug, PickThrive. There are all kinds. Once upon a time, nobody used in online reservation software or invested in online bookings. Once upon a time, nobody invested in earned media as a strategy for engaging and building relationships with guests long term. The landscape's shifting. Finally, you can request that your guests leave photos in their reviews. So TripAdvisor makes it super easy. You can just drag and drop. So if you're active in helping them capture that content or gifting them that content, then that is a real life photo of real life people taking your real life tour. And TripAdvisor and Google, they really like to see stuff like that. So what about the long term? I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. If it's comfortable, you don't have to, but we ask the question, can you really leverage memories for years to come? So if your eyes are closed, I want you to think about the best tour or activity you ever experienced. What moments stand out? What made it special? Now, when was the last time you thought about the business specifically that hosted you? Can you remember the name of it? And you guys are probably in a unique position because you're business owners, you pay close attention to this stuff. But think about the average customer. Now, what if that company surprised you with photos from your tour that day, like now they dropped in your inbox with a note that said, "We miss you, hope to see you soon," or "Rebook now for our 2024 season." What kind of feelings would that give you toward the business? Would you maybe check out their website to see what's new? Would you start to imagine visiting again? Maybe you might even share your photos socially again. Let's zoom back out now. Okay, open your eyes if they're still closed, by the way. The big picture. If as a business you could interject here, help your guests capture those memories and find a way to include your brand and business when those photos are shared, every time someone looked at or shared the content, you're reinforcing memory, building stronger relationships with your guests, and you're also forming new relationships with their networks, which helps drive direct bookings, all the while extracting more lifetime value. When it comes to where you invest your time or money in your marketing mix, you really want to think about how to deliver the right message to the right consumer with the right context at the right time on the right channel. And this is super important now more than ever, because a study in Canada recently showed that attention spans are shrinking and are now less than that of a goldfish. Now, this doesn't mean that we're ignorant. It means that we're often distracted. We can juggle between multiple tasks and stimuli, switching between them quickly. But seriously, if you have less than 8 seconds to emotionally connect with someone and get them to trust your brand, what's the best way to do it? It's earned media. It's brand messages advocated by your guest to the very best like-minded audience. And when you do this well, you crack the code on that earned media. Publicity gained through promotional efforts other than advertising. Again, in this case, people willingly promoting your business for you most of the time without incentive. And I want to highlight this because it's the biggest opportunity that I see operators missing out on. Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. If you see photos being captured on your tour or experience and you are not actively doing anything to ensure that your brand is included or making it super easy for guests to tag or link your business to that content when they share it across their channels, and they will, like I said, you're missing a huge opportunity. Now, TripAdvisor CMO John Boris recently stated in an interview, and I directly quote, "How do you leverage those social networks and channels and the content and trust we have to truly meet travelers where they are?" That's a really great opportunity. We have not cracked the code on that, and it's something we aspire to. Well, I've got news for you, John. We cracked the code here today. When you connect your guests to their memories more deeply and have your guests sharing socially and engage with that, they are connecting your brand to a like-minded audience across all of their channels on your behalf. And this opportunity is no secret. There's been data shared by Arrival, which does research on trends in tourism activity for years now. What remains the single largest source of travel recommendation and inspiration is word of mouth, specifically from friends and family. Helping push the discoverability of your brand authentically to the very best, most targeted leads, people who know them, who are just like them with the same interest, means, and ability to visit you. The bottom line, when you start by strategically thinking of ways to increase lifetime value, which you now know are fundamentally achieved by an increase of direct bookings, which cost less when they're driven by repeat and referral visitations, and they're leveraged by your relationships with all of your guests just by using the memories that they naturally want to remember, just by using the tools, photos, and videos that they actually want to consume and share, you earn their advocacy and make your brand discoverable to the exact audience that you want to be targeting. So now what? Let's revisit those 4 things that operators want to do. Let's continue to think strategically and creatively and leverage our connections and our networks and our staff Do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Analyze your current marketing spend. Does it include earned media? What's actually working? How do you know what's working? Create a predictable booking stream. Understand where your customers really come from. How are you tracking that? What percentage are repeat? What percentage of referral? How do you get more repeat and referral customers? Navigate away from this one and done mentality around guests. Build stronger relationships with your past guests by thinking about what you really want them to remember about their time with you. How do you make sure they remember your brand or your guides when they think back on their experience? Now, we didn't really get into this one too much today, but any messaging that you might be putting out there in terms of marketing or advertising that talks about a once in a lifetime experience, you might want to consider shifting it to, instead of a once in a lifetime adventure, to adventures for a lifetime. Don't alienate people into thinking this is something they can only do once. Just a little psychology tip. And finally, act on the principle that people are no longer the targets of your marketing media. They are your marketing media. Leverage content that's being captured to include your brand and business. Be active in helping facilitate the capturing and sharing of memories. Get excited about the content that either your guests are capturing or that you can capture for your guests, and leveraging some of these principles to help them share. So again, the best thing, brainstorm, take these ideas kind of home with you, to your businesses with you. You know, there's online networks, there's America Outdoors, there's Tourpreneur, there's associations. If you're not already signed up to go to the conference in Phoenix from December 5th to December 8th, that is a great place where people collectively come together and you can workshop some of these ideas. Great to chat with your friends. Of course, I'm here as well. If you've got any questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to me and we can have a chat. All right, thank you so much. I think I did that one in record time, so hopefully we're feeling good about it.
Yeah, Megan, thank you. That was awesome. I think you made some really good points and good ideas. At this point, I'd love to open it up for discussion and questions. I don't see any questions typed in, but we would love to have you share some ideas or questions if you have them. Feel free to put your hand up or feel free to turn your microphone on and interject. I have to say, Megan, I love that you just said that trip of a lifetime, because I always am that person who's like scared I'll never get to do this again. Like, you mean it's over? Like, is it all downhill from here? So thank you for that. Like,
oh, absolutely. Well, it's funny, like, because everyone I work with, we're all in travel and we work with all kinds of different tours and activities, experiences, but I always ask the question, what is the favorite thing or the best experience you've ever had? And hands down, it's whitewater rafting, which I know is like a big draw for America Outdoors. We get a lot of operators in whitewater rafting. It's like, oh, why? Like, wouldn't you just kind of do it once? Like, no, the most prolonged, exhilarating experience I've ever had. And I am addicted now. I will go back again, again, and again. And yet sometimes when I look at these websites, it's adventure of a lifetime. It's like, well, wait, people are definitely coming back to do this again and again.
I have a question here in the chat that says, do you have an example of an outfitter tour business that does this really well? Maybe one of your customers that you can share?
I do. I'm not going to give the name, but I actually have a rafting tour that does this incredibly well. Now, because they use my service, we make it really easy to do, but here's the tips on making it work really well for you. Think about the types of photos that people would be excited to consume and share. We don't have to be National Geographic and document the whole thing. Analysis paralysis, when I'm looking at an album that has 100 photos that's just been Dropboxed to me for a link, I am going to psychologically hone in on the photo where I think, you know, the helmet's cutting in and giving me a double chin, or I don't like the way I look, or I can't really see my face. Doing this well, there's a couple of photos that are amazing. I'm going to continue to use rafting as an example. They are not even in the water. They are standing with helmets, with life jackets, with the paddle beside the boat. They are smiling, the makeup is still on, it's not running, hair still looks kind of good. When they receive that photo instantly, they remember all the excitement that happened. But here's something that's reminiscent of that experience, but I actually look good, so I'm okay with posting that publicly. Those are probably the main tips. Intentionality. So thinking about the photos that are, you can see people, they're not candid, you get them to smile, and then making sure that it's not overload of content. If you are providing photos for free, even one can be enough. If you are wanting to sell photos and make a package, which this operator does, they only send 15 photos and they command about a $40 price point for that package. Hopefully that's helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. I have another one too. So it says you've covered a lot of great initiatives. Thanks. If we are limited in bandwidth at this time, what you recommend is one of the most impactful things we can do to increase lifetime value that we should prioritize over others?
Limited in bandwidth, like, is that in terms of like just time and resources?
Bandwidth, time, resources. I would imagine probably someone to be doing that.
Yep. Okay, so I would say that just thinking about each, without knowing your business, thinking about the tour that you have and implementing a specific, well thought out photo stop. So because you know your guests want to capture that content, build it into the tour, and it can be a 2-minute thing, but make sure that they want memories, they want amazing memories, and highlight that you're the expert. I know the most magical background or the most picturesque stop. Have that moment, like something that's memorable around the photo being captured as well. And I think in that moment, if you can also have your guide say something like, hey, it would mean a lot to us if you share this photo and use this very unique hashtag. So this is a way that later on, if you want to go back, if you do find you have a little bit more time, you can easily find and engage with that content. But definitely create a magical moment around a photo stop. Awesome. Or get a company to do it for you, because there's a lot of companies that will automate the whole process.
Awesome. Another question, with the many OTAs, what's the best way to prioritize which OTA to put more effort towards?
Ooh, I'm so sorry. That's not a question for me. I have no idea. Okay, if I was going to take a stab at it though, ultimately, you want more of your bookings coming direct. So if you're strategizing on, where to double down and looking at it like, oh, this OTA is sending me more bookings and their percentage is a little bit lower, be wary. Because as time rolls on into the future, becoming reliant on any single one of them as a channel is dangerous. And that is exactly what happened in online food and beverage aggregate businesses. You're going to work harder for a smaller cut of your own product. So that it's just a cautionary tale. I think, again, don't double down on something necessarily. Stop and think, how do I have a strategy if I'm getting bookings from this OTA? How am I converting them into my actual customer later? So next time they book, or if they recommend me, my next booking isn't also filtering through that OTA, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Hopefully that is helpful, because that is probably a tough question to answer as a general. Does anyone else have any other questions, or do any of you have any ideas to share? I know there's a lot of question of like, what specifically should I do? Do any of you have great stories you want to tell? Personally, I think a lot about like trips in the Grand Canyon. I think of, if you've ever been there, that Red Wall Cavern. Every tour company tries to stop and get in there so you can get those good shadow photos with the canyon in the background. And I think about like some of the photos I've taken there, and people ask, where were you? Where did you get that? How did you get in there? So those kinds of things. There's so many. Looking at Instagrams, even some of the times they want to know where this yurt is, or where was that waterfall you got to. So if any of you have great ideas, maybe you don't have any of those particular wow factors, you just have a really fun, great experience, but you've put one together. Anybody else have anything to share or ask?
Hey, something else I've even seen is create a moment of humor. I've had clients that will use ChatGPT to come up with some great one-liners, using rafting puns or cycling puns to get people to smile or be engaged. If you've got a guide that's got a great personality, using them and asking them their advice and how they're engaging in that moment as well to help solidify the memory can be really valuable.
Okay. What does PhotoFlow do as a program?
So everything that we just talked about over the past half an hour, that's our jam. We simplify and automate all of the things to make it really, really easy for businesses to capture and automatically deliver guest photos, and then benefit from the social sharing and the online word of mouth. Whoever asked that question, feel free to send me an email. We can set up some time so I can learn a little bit about your business, and I'd be happy to go a little bit deeper into what we do.
Awesome. With the closure of the webinar too, you will, when you receive this recording, you'll get Megan's email information as well. So that'll come direct to you if you don't already have it. So if anybody wants to reach out about that, we will make sure that information is forwarded on. Any other questions or comments? Oh, here, maybe. Nope. Any other questions or comments to share before we wrap up? I'm gonna make sure I give you all a second if you want to say or ask anything. Okay, then I am going to say, Megan, thank you.
Thank you. This was so fun.
You did great job, and great ideas and great things to think about as we're wrapping up seasons and getting ready for next seasons and marketing plans. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort, your work. Great job. Everyone who attended today and everyone who didn't and took the time to watch the recording, we appreciate your time. We at America Outdoors appreciate your support. For the future webinars, for the upcoming conference and expo in Phoenix, please visit americaoutdoors.org. All the information and all the links are posted there. We hope to continue conversations like this in person when we're there. So hopefully we'll see some of your actual faces. Great to have you. Megan, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.